Good morning and welcome to Church at Home with Rachael for Christmas Eve. It's here. Christmas is here. I love Christmas. Ever since I was a little girl, I've had this incredible sense of giddiness about Christmas. Now, mind you, as a priest, sometimes that giddiness gets overwhelmed by how much there is behind the scenes for church services and the number of church services and things like that. So by the end of tonight, I'm probably going to be pretty wiped. However, this morning, waking up this morning, saying my daily office, getting ready for this day, is just a quick reminder of all of those wonderful Christmases past, all of the things that Christmas holds, family and friends and good food and laughter and gift giving and awesome church. Some of my favorite memories are from when I was a little girl. Christmas Eve in my house. I remember one year, Mom must have been out Christmas shopping because in my mind, it's all conflated into one Christmas, but she made us these beautiful long flannel nightgowns that had sashes that tied in the back. We had to untie, or otherwise you try to sleep and there'd be a knot in the back of in the middle of your back. But they were long and blue and almost like a paisley mixture of light blue and dark blue. And my sister, Jennifer, this is before Anna came along, we both got one, and we got what we called our Laura Ingalls dresses for Christmas to wear to Christmas Eve church. My mom made them, and Dad would make us stay downstairs, and Mom would hide out in the spare room with her sewing machine, and she'd whipping up all these Christmas gifts. Well, this night, I think it must have been at least a few days before Christmas, because it was the last day of school, and so we were giddy because we didn't have school and we were going to go to grandparents' farm for Christmas, and we had a couple of weeks with no having to go to school and things like that, and Mom was out somewhere. And I remember Dad sitting at the kitchen table doing some work, and the two of us, I was wearing my dad's housecoat, running around the kitchen, through the hall, the living room, the dining room, into the kitchen, going in circles over and over and over. And when Dad told us to stop, we just turned around and went the other way. We were wild. And then we went into the room where the den, into the living room where the Christmas tree was. We started spinning around until we were so dizzy we fell over on the floor. We closed our eyes and we felt like we were moving. We were flying through the air because we were so dizzy. We did that for years, my sister and I. Dude is making a lot of noise this morning. He's excited about Christmas Eve too, I think. But those were Christmas traditions. They were silly, but they were Christmas traditions that my sister and I had for a long time that sort of set the day aside. Things that we did the way we thought, even the idea of going to church at night. Now, we always went to church every Sunday. We loved Sunday school. But the idea of going to church on Christmas Eve in the evening was just incredible, because we knew that after church there would be sweets and goodies and lots of shortbread and fudge and those little sort of gumdrop things covered in chocolate that we love to eat, and nuts, mixed nuts and things, because we sometimes had people come over after church. But I remember that Christmas Eve going to Trinity Church in St. Thomas, and I think the priest was Reverend Ray Farrell, and he called us up to the front. We sat on the steps with him, and he had this orange with toothpicks in it and colored jujubes, and I have no idea what the children's focus was about, but I remember being like enthralled about being at church that night and being so excited. I was wearing my little Laura Ingalls dress. Mine was brown, Jennifer's was green, little flowers on them, and it was just, everything was absolutely perfect. Christmas Eve was perfect. Santa would come. We would see family. Lots of good food and laughter. Everyone was in a great mood. Christmas Eve was perfect. I know now, as a grown-up, that Christmas Eve was never perfect. And I have a bit of understanding now about all of the things that went into getting those things to happen. Getting two young girls with long hair, get them hair braided and bathed and cleaned up and put in those dresses, and corralling them, and getting, husband home from work in time to get ready for a quick dinner and go to church. And all of the things that happened after church, helping Santa Claus prepare the gifts, get them all ready, and put batteries in things and set things up for the morning as Santa's helpers. All those things that went into being a parent for Christmas Eve. But though those things that went into being a parent for Christmas Eve made Christmas perfect for the children, the things that we do. My memories of Christmas Eve, they change, of course. There's the Christmas Eve that Rob was sailing and I was alone in the house in the rectory in Halifax, and that was a lonely Christmas Eve. I had my services at the church 4, 7, and 9:30, and by the time I was done, I went home and I had true to form peanut butter toast and tea, and then went to sleep, getting ready to get up in the morning and celebrate the Christmas Day service with the 3 people who showed up. But even in that, Christmas was perfect. I was invited over to have Christmas with a couple whose husband, the woman, her husband was on the ship with Rob, and he was home on leave, so I was able to have Christmas with them. And it was beautiful to hang out with somebody who'd been hanging out with my husband for the past 6 months. Christmas was perfect. I've never had a perfect Christmas. I have never had a Christmas Eve that went completely without a hitch. I have never, as a priest, had a Christmas Eve service that went without a hitch. All kinds of things go haywire. Everything goes sideways. Every Christmas, there's a sense of loneliness for missing the people I can't be with, missing my grandmother who died on Christmas Day when I was 16, missing friends and family, missing people I'd not yet met before I met Rob and I was single, wondering who I might one day be able to spend my Christmases with. And yet, every Christmas has been perfect. I apologize for the dude here. He's very loud this morning. But it's Christmas. Every Christmas is perfect. You see, Christmas Eve and Christmas Day aren't about the presents under the tree, although that's always a bonus. They're not even about the Christmas services and whether or not the kids behave themselves, or there's enough communion wafers, or all of the things that happen. Did we know the tune to which we sang O Little Town of Bethlehem? Did the people who never come to church know what to do for communion? It doesn't matter, because every Christmas is perfect. You see, every Christmas we celebrate the gift of Jesus Christ. We celebrate the gift of God with us. When God looked at the world and said, they need me. They're ready for me. I am going to give them myself in the form of my Son, Jesus Christ. I am going to give them a child who they will raise up, with whom they will play, and they will learn, and they will discover the true love that I have for them. Because, you see, every Christmas is perfect. I learned a long time ago that perfection comes from the imperfection. You can have, and I have had a couple liturgies, a couple of services that go absolutely perfectly. The choir is in tune. The server doesn't trip. There's exactly enough bread and wine for the whole congregation. The sermon goes off without a hitch. I don't skip a word in the gospel. Everything is perfect. And even though everything's perfect, sometimes it still feels like everything went sideways. Just because it's perfect doesn't mean it's perfect. But I have had services, quite a few Christmas Eve services as a matter of fact, where some child speaks up and says, I know the answer to everything and it's Jesus. Well, that kind of takes the wind out of the children's focus sail, doesn't it? Or you go to sing a hymn and you have no idea what your organist is playing. You have so many people there, you run out of bread at communion. Or you have very few people there, and it feels like, why aren't people coming to my church for Christmas? And in each of those services, where there were so many imperfections, when I look back on them, there was always something. The laugh of a child, the innocence of an older person watching a child. That sense that it's okay if we don't know the right hymn. Or even though my sermon went flat, one person spoke to me after the service and said, thank you, I needed that. In the imperfection is the perfection. Every Christmas is perfect. No matter what we do or who we are, we have Christmas. We can ignore it. We can pretend it doesn't exist. We don't have to decorate. Or we can go over the top like the Griswolds in National Lampoon Christmas, and we can decorate everything that moves and doesn't move. We can do all of those things. And they can be wonderful or they can be horrible. But in that moment when we recognize that Jesus Christ is born in our hearts, in our lives, all of it becomes perfect, because Christmas is always perfect. I hope you have a perfect Christmas. I hope you have an imperfectly perfect Christmas. I know I will. I have no idea what's going to happen tonight. We're gathering at the Ag Hall in Edgerton at 5 o'clock if you'd like to join us. And I have no idea how few or how many people will show up. I have no idea what I'm going to do with all of the things that need to happen. But they'll come together or they won't. And everything will be imperfectly perfect because Christ is born. Our service is at 9 o'clock in Wainwright at St. Thomas, and the same thing will happen. No matter what happens with lighting of candles or turning off of lights or whatever else, it will be imperfectly perfect because Jesus Christ is born. So this day, have a perfect day. Embrace the imperfections and recognize that at the end of the day, everything will be perfect because Jesus Christ is born. Merry Christmas, everybody. Thank you for joining me for this year for Church at Home with Rachael and for our mini worships. Mini worship for Christmas Eve will be released probably about 6 o'clock tonight. And there will be mini worship, of course, for Sunday, for the first Sunday after Christmas on the 26th of December. And there will be mini worship for the 2nd of January, on which we will celebrate Epiphany. But there won't be any Church at Homes next week. I'm going to take the 5 days off and just spend some time with my husband and my dog and just be. Have some downtime. So have a wonderful Christmas season. And I will see you again for Church at Home with Rachael on Monday, the 3rd of January. God bless you, and may you have an imperfectly perfect Christmas. God bless.